Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at player props on a Friday here, Nate, to end the work week. We've got a 9-game slate to choose from. Also got a couple game videos up for you today. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Also head to thelines.com. Check out everything we're talking about here on written form and more about the NBA this season. Also have our odds finder tool on there. You can use that to make sure that you are shopping these lines and NBA player props across all these US sports books who are giving you guys props this season. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first play a prop tonight, the finisher.
Yeah, you really wanted to break out that nickname for Lauri Markkanen.
I did.
Who is trending now as an all-star starter, maybe? Is he going to start over LeBron James in the all-star game, or are they just going to make room for him? Either way, I mean, he's on a tear since Christmas, 31 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, and something shifted in the last 5 games for Utah. He's only played in 3 of those, but Walker Kessler has been starting at center. And that leads to a little bit more usage, a little bit easier scoring for Markkanen, more room to operate. Or, you know, maybe it's actually a little more clogged on offense, but his scoring has not dipped. But his rebounds have gone up to 13.5 per game in 3 alongside Walker, who's a big dude who's just going to box out. You know, think Steven Adams, think Brook Lopez. They're going to clear out and let their power forward come in and clean up. And you're playing a Nets team that's dead last in offensive efficiency without KD. They're 0-4, 102 offensive rating, 45% field goal shooting, and they're getting out rebounded 50-41 on average in these 4 games. So Markkanen, you can take the 26.5 points and feel pretty good about it with the Nets on a back-to-back here. I mean, maybe you worry about the blowout factor. Or you can take 9.5 rebounds, or you can tack the 2 together. 35.5 points rebounds seems fine to me, but I think he gets a double-double here and continues to board up with his big center alongside him.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you worry about is the blowout factor. I don't know if the Nets are going to be able to hang around at all, but Utah is going to be putting up points no matter what. That's my only fear. Like I said, nothing against anything else you're saying. I don't think this is going to be your typical type of game that Utah is used to, in the sense that, like, what are the Nets right now? It's just, if Kyrie doesn't do something amazing, it looked like G League offense last night versus the Suns, who aren't exactly world beaters on offense right now without their 2 best players and Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So, just worried about that. That's my only thing. I still love the idea of him being able to get the rebounds at the very least. Maybe it's a little bit choppier, but points and rebounds I would add together to get a few more boards in there as well. Like you said, those 13 with Walker Kessler in the lineup. Love to see that. So taking a bet here that, as we have said before, is not for the faint of heart, Nate. Luka Doncic under. Stop me if you've heard that before. You have not heard that before. 44.5 points and rebounds. I threw the rebounds in there. You like the rebounds a lot at about 10.5, right? And the points are sitting at 34.5. You combine them together on DraftKings, you get minus 105, gets you pretty close to even money. So kind of like the idea of doing that as opposed to like a minus 120 or so for the under on the points. But dude, this is so high versus a Miami team. We talk about this in our game video with them. In his last 4 versus Miami, 26 a game, 10 points, 6.5 assists. He's never hit 35 in that time. The average pace in that time frame for those 4 games is 93 with an average score of 109 to 105. Don't get me wrong. The Mavs could score 109 points and Luka could have 40. It wouldn't be shocking necessarily. But that's just not against a Miami team tonight that has actually been rounding a lot better into form. Number 1, limiting opponent rebounds on the road, averaging only 108 points a game are they allowing on the road, and allow the 3rd fewest points per game to point guards as well, about 22.5 on the season. So it doesn't look, it's not a good matchup for Luka, especially as we know when he's not scoring basically 37, 38 points, which is essentially what his prop is at, needing 35 tonight. This Mavs team doesn't win. He needs to score 37 or they lose. In the games they've lost this season, 28 a game. So I think there's just way too high against this Heat team. Whereas I might not feel like it's too high if the Mavs are playing, say, the Lakers, right? But they're not. So
yeah, I mean, the points are the scariest thing with Luka, which is why we never take an under, because he can score 35 in his sleep. It seems he's the leading scorer in the NBA, and even Miami, you know, with their good schemes, are probably going to allow him to get around 30. I think that why I like the rebounds more and maybe under on the assists as well is that they're going to just try to shut down everybody else, and that he doesn't have Christian Wood as a pick and roll partner or Kleba as a pick and pop partner. I think maybe Luka doesn't get double-digit rebounds or assists here, and you get plus 265 on no double-double.
I saw that.
So I like the juice there, but I like what you're saying, just kind of lumping the stats together, maybe all the PRA, which is 54.5. So at some places, you can tack on 10 more assists and try to get under that way. But not.
There are not many players in the NBA that you're going to get plus 265 for them to not get a double-double. There's like 5 of them. And Luka's one of them.
And the Joker, by the way, who might be in a blowout tonight at home. But we're staying in this game with Bam, Adebayo, and we like points for Luka, but we like the other stuff for Bam because in the game video we talk about how Miami should dominate the glass in this one. They're first in rebounding over the last 5. Dallas is 27th, and they're without 2 of their big guys, Wood and Kleba. And even with some guys in there, Bam in his last 7 against Dallas is averaging 12 boards and 5 assists per game, 11 plus rebounds in 6 of those outings, also getting about 17 points per game. He's scoring more right now as the Heat are pulling their season up. 21.5 points in his last 7, also 11 rebounds, also 2.5 assists and 3.5 stocks. So there's a lot to like in terms of not just the points, which I think are a little high at 20 and 1.5. I don't think there's going to be a ton of scoring in this game, but I do think 13.5 rebounds assists is very low. That's even money at FanDuel, or just the rebounds at DK. But I think he can be diming up here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 11, 12 rebounds, and then all you need is 2 dimes. Because, like I mentioned in the game video, again, 36 rebounds per game without Christian Wood. Mavs are averaging in 4 games, and they're dead last in crashing the glass. The opponents have the highest defensive rebound percentage against them.
Yeah, offensive rebound percentage. Yeah, so they can defense rebound. Either way, Bam for rebounds, love it. Yeah, 11 boards, and then all he needs is like you said, the 3 assists. At that point, I think he's good for 4 or 5. I mean, the points don't scare me only because since he's come back, Jimmy's been a little bit more of a facilitator as well, and Bam has been really, leading the team in terms of having the ball in his hands. It's really between he and Jimmy Butler at this point and what they can do. So I'm fine with anything you really want to take with Bam tonight, but I do understand that we both like there's not going to be that many points in a total that already has a low one with 218. So maybe stay away from those just in the event that it's not out of the question at all that he gets 20 points. It just doesn't quite get you there. So I'm going to finish things off for the week with the White Wilt, aka Ivica Zubac, who only received that name because of a 3-game period where he went bananas, but obviously cooled down. It's got pretty low props right now, 10.5 points, minus 110 on DraftKings. If you want to add the rebounds in there for the big guy, 20.5 points and rebounds is minus 115. I think I stay with the points. The only thing that scares me is he seems to score a bunch in the first quarter, maybe the second, then really in the second half, it's just basically up to, whichever form of PG or Kawhi is in the game at that point, and some Norman Powell, by the way. But in his, he's playing the Spurs tonight. I think it's going to be a bit closer than people might think. It's not that big of a spread in favor of the Clips. I think they hang around, and Zubac is needed if Pirtle's going to be out there for the amount that he has been. We talked about that recently. He's definitely on the trading block, and so they need to feature him out there. That's why he's been getting 30+ minutes, which means when you see him out there, you'll see Ivica out there. In his last 3, Zubac is averaging about 12.5 and about 9 boards. But in his last 7 versus the Spurs, about 10 a game and 12 boards. So, I mean, maybe you just want to get the 21 points and rebounds in there because he's going to get double digits of at least one of those categories. I think it's going to be points. Either way, the Spurs do give up the 5th most points to opposing centers and the 3rd most rebounds to centers over the course of the last 2 weeks, which is when Pirtle has been in there. And to be honest, this has been probably his worst defensive season of his career in Jakob Pirtle, as he's, giving up one of the highest percentages, opponent field goal percentages around the rim in the league, which is just a stat he's usually really good at. So I think you can continue to maybe fade Pirtle and ride with Zubac.
I don't know if it's fading Pirtle as much as saying, if he's playing, the Clippers are going to play a true center, and then you can trust Zubac to get his minutes. And on a per 36 basis, he's definitely getting a double-double, which is plus 145 at FanDuel. Not bad odds there. Yeah, you could just do 10.5 rebounds, or you could just do 10.5 points, whatever you feel better, or lump the two together and hope that, like Josh is saying, he goes a little bit over on one. But I think he's definitely a double threat in that This could be an interesting game with Kawhi revenge here at the Spurs. I mean, he was quiet in the first matchup with them, but now he's feeling a little bit better. He's got PG at his side, and I mean, the Spurs are just a young team that's bad at rebounding, bad defending the paint, bad everywhere. So they can set up Zubac for some dunks for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens with this Clippers team. I don't like it. We talked about them a lot in our article with Mark Medina. That is our podcast with Mark Medina. That's going to be coming out as well about some futures stuff. So make sure you do like and subscribe so you can follow along and check out that futures video. Maybe get some of those bets in on the awards that are coming up at the end of the season. Either way, that's all the time we have for you guys today. So until we see you next, happy betting.